Everyone, welcome back to episode 4 of the Beaker and Wrench minicast. My name is Lilibel. I am the co-founder and president of Beaker and Wrench, and I will be your host for today's episode. I am so excited to have Nickole Ross from Noohra Labs as our guest today. Welcome, Nickole.
Thank you
for
so
joining
much,
us.
Lilibel, for having me today. I'm so happy to be
I'm
on with
honored.
you.
I'm so honored.
Yes, I'm so excited to have this conversation with you.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. You know, it's almost the end of the year, and it's been a crazy year since our first year in operations here at Noohra Labs. So it's been a beautiful experience. You all been a part of that experience this whole year with us. So it's been a pleasure and an honor to just be doing business with you and also just working with just great, genuine people. So it's a pleasure to, be wrapping this year up in a great way.
Absolutely. One of the things I love about you guys is your authenticity and how genuine you guys are. I can see
Thank
it.
you.
I see the hard
Same.
work. I see the love. I see the support, the community, and I'm so impressed by it. So
Thank
being
you.
chosen by you guys to provide anything was like an honor. So thank you.
Oh, same. Thank you so much. It's been fun. Like our team really has been grateful to have such a quality team to build with. Because the thing is, that's what we wanted to do with our company is learn, grow, and build quality when it comes down to who we touch and who we reach. So thank you so much. You're in California, DYT Cali Connect too. A lot of little connections around,
Yep.
Yes.
Today we're going to talk about what it's like to be a woman leader in the cannabis industry. We are going to talk about Nickole's experience in the cannabis industry as a woman of color, a mother, and a COO of her own company.
Yes. Wow.
So, Nickole, to start things off, tell us where you grew up, what is your background in cannabis, and what inspired you to start Noohra?
Well, I grew up from Dayton, Ohio. Born and raised here. My family is very, just traditional. We are from Dayton, small city in Ohio, not as big as, Cleveland, Columbus, or Cincinnati. But one of the things that is Dayton is known for is innovation. And being raised in Ohio, it was different to see and get access to cannabis. So it wasn't something that was in my home or around me at the time growing up. But then I was able to work within the family who was entrepreneurs and who are business oriented and also teachers and had a lot of educational background. So I was always inspired to do something creative or do something as an entrepreneur. During that time, I went to University of Cincinnati for a little bit, transitioned out of there, moved to California after I lived in Atlanta for some time. And that's when I got the cannabis exposure that really changed our lives and my family's life, because Noohra Labs is a minority-owned, women-led, family-owned company. My father's our CEO, my mother's our outreach director, my sister operations director, and myself the COO. And I have another sister who's our qualities manager. So it's a very team, family-oriented company that we've grown to be able to make a bigger team and a bigger family with the people that we worked for in our community. But I got involved in cannabis by moving to California, pursuing music. That I was going to be doing some really big things in the music scene, but I was able to take some of my skill sets in that industry and apply it by taking cannabis and merging it with entertainment, with music and food. And that's how I got involved in the cannabis industry. I was working, doing all the marketing I was co-founder of Elevation VIP, which was a cannabis dining collective. That I was working with a renowned chef who was doing some infused dining at the time that we partnered with to create this new way of consuming edibles. And we started in the kitchen in California in 2013 and was able to just take that opportunity and get educated about what cannabis meant, and not from a way where people had it from a stigma from like being in Ohio where it was like the gateway drug around certain communities, but being in California where everybody could be professionals and still consume cannabis in a healthy, holistic manner. It really opened my eyes to what cannabis was from a new lens. So I took that opportunity, paired it with music where we were doing dinner collectives. And then that transition brought me back home where I thought I would be home temporarily. But then I got pregnant with my beautiful daughter, who's now 8. 8, yes. It's been so much time that has passed. I can't believe it. But that allowed me to come back home to really start to understand cannabis in a new light, because Ohio wasn't at the time a program. There was no program. It was in the onset of establishing one. So My experience of learning the industry there allowed me to apply that skill set and bring it home to build it with my family. I didn't expect it to be that calling, but that calling led us to come together to do this business.
That's amazing. So what I'm hearing from you is your life has not been linear.
No.
You have done so much, and I relate to that strongly.
Yes.
Because I'm from, well, my mom is actually from Dayton, Ohio, by the way. So funny, right?
You get it from your mama.
No, totally. She left Dayton in the early 80s. She moved to Florida. She went to Kentucky. She went to California, Yeah, she just went all over the place kind of searching for herself. And I was the same. I left home as soon as I was 18 and I moved to Portland. I lived in San Diego. I was in the military for 4 years. So I lived in Hawaii. Then I went back to Oregon for college. And in between all of this stuff, I also tried a million different things. When I got out of the military, I literally moved to New York. I thought I was going to go to hair school. I had no education whatsoever.
Beautiful. But you're doing historical things, that's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, I just was trying to find my way.
Absolutely.
And I always loved plants. I have pictures of myself gardening since I was 5 years old. So beautiful. I decided to study horticulture in college. And then I realized along the way that I loved chemistry. And I was already growing weed with a medical card. And growing up in Oregon, I was around weed and the weed industry, especially where I grew up in the Willamette Valley. There's so much weed there.
Wow.
So it was very familiar to me. And I love the plant. I love the medicine. And I actually discovered a lot about myself while I was in college. And so I was studying chemistry and then I was thinking, okay, extraction's kind of the future here.
Absolutely.
And so I wanted to learn more about the actual chemistry behind not just cannabis, the plant, but the process of extracting and distilling cannabis.
Yes,
and so
the science.
Yes, the science of it. So it was a lot harder. It added a whole nother year to my education, but it was worth it for me. And then I got a job in Berkeley directly out of college and met Ace in Berkeley. And he was how we started Beaker and Wrench, is he was helping me in my lab. So
yes.
Yeah.
And she wrote.
Yeah. I don't think linearity is the key to success at all. So I love your story. That's
you
fabulous.
have to experience life. You never know. I understand, the why part, I knew I was passionate about people and bringing people together and developing things. And cannabis is a conduit for so many things that brings people together. And I always say cannabis and food are certain things that people will share without questioning it. You'll be like, absolutely. Yeah, let me go ahead and have some of that. It's a give and take. You got to be open to receive it. And one of the things that you said, finding yourself, it allowed you to take the path to find something that you were passionate about and you appreciate and respect the plant. The plant will give back to you. And
that's right.
It's doing that. Yeah. Look, she take care of us.
Yes. And she rejects people who do not take care of her. And if you don't care about the medicine, it shows.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. That's what we have to recreate in this new era, a new time of life. It's just that community, that bringing together, that building those blocks and things and making sure those blocks don't become our blockages to growth and, in the future. So it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing how it all comes full circle. When you told me last year your mom's from Dayton, I'm like, what?
I know.
Little things. It's just a little thing.
You would never think I'd meet some, but I actually have a really good friend from the military who was also from Dayton, and we still talk to this day.
Beautiful.
So, I don't know why Dayton just keeps coming back.
Hey, there's definitely some connection with, taking flight. And that's the thing that I like about Dayton is it's a small city, but we're creators and we like to create a lot of things with people, and vice versa. California was such an opening market. When it came down to learning cannabis, it was great to learn from there, but now put some structure to what we learned because the legal industry and the regulations is so different from what we were experiencing on the West Coast when we were starting off. So now
for sure. I mean, you guys are such pioneers. Can you tell me a little bit about your build out process for the lab and what were some of the first steps you had to take for your lab?
Well, learning the laws, that's one of the things that is happening now and happened then, because when you're in the beginning phases, you're making something out of nothing, and when it came came down to regulation, everybody was in the unknown when it came to cannabis in Ohio, because you're writing rules for the first time. You're looking at best practices in other models in other states. You're trying to figure out who are the players, and one of the things that was some challenges is because Ohio did have a social equity set aside that was then taken away based off of some lawsuits taken on from a race perspective. When it came down to saying that it shouldn't be a set aside based off of race. They deemed it unconstitutional. So at that time we had applied, but when we were waiting for our award, they had made it unconstitutional. So it was just like we were left in limbo, and we still were able to win our license. I know we were told, like, now you just got to measure up, and we won still 18 out of 40 in a licensure perspective without a social equity license. So some people think that we're social equity applicants. No, we were able to win the license, even though it's great to have these programs. But now it's about talking about equality, and that's what we wanted to do with our lab. We were able to raise all of our capital, over $5 million today, during a pandemic with non-VC capital, with family and friends, because we wanted to maintain the authenticity and the ownership within ourselves. And one of the things that was, a challenging and learning curve is you're going through a pandemic, you're in an unregulated industry that's federally illegal. There's no banking in 2016 and 17 was not even existing. So there was so many things, red and green tape, that was around, because you're in this dark period of learning. And that's what I look at cannabis. You got the root, you got all the seed in this dark soil, but then this plant comes from it. And one of the things that we were able to build was just a community and a way to learn and to build with my family and as a business, and do something that was never done before. So we had to give ourselves some grace too, because building a lab and, and understanding how to build a manufacturing process to be able to make quality medicine for patients was something new. And education was the key component to that, making sure that we had right partners that we can build and have relationships with, making sure we understood our equipment. When we first started, we had something that is doable, like more of like a short path. But when you're talking about scale, it's a whole different process, So looking at our lab in our beginning pictures, when we had our small rotovap and our short path, to now having this beautiful beaker and wrench and this equal, this is like, oh, we're getting ready for adult use overnight. It felt like, even though it was 5 years of, doing all the work and the groundwork, we did a lot of the GC ourselves. Now we know how to do things and do it better, because we don't have to spend certain costs that you learn mistakes on. And that's the things we want to be able to challenge and build for the future, is not to repeat the same wheels, but just change the direction and make sure that they evolve. So other people coming behind us have better roles and better pathways to be able to walk down when it comes down to being in such a highly regulated and limited license state.
Wow. Well, Ohio is lucky to have you and your family setting such a high standard of excellence. That's something I got from you and your dad when I met your dad, is you just have this standard of excellence.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. We've been working with a lot of people in the community to help build that. And that's important to us, is, character. It's been, like I said, the learning curve has been tremendous, because, again, the barriers are real. You're talking about 10,000 non-refundable, having to own your property, having to have hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of equipment, insurances, payroll, staff, all these things that isn't regulated in regular business due to it being federally illegal. So now learning these things, we're, want to be more diligent, more intentional when it comes down to the equality that's necessary. So we all have the access to the resources that's required to continue to build this medicine and the education for this plant.
So what has your hiring process been like? It sounds like you have a big family team, but obviously you have employees outside of that. What's that been like for you?
Yes, we do. Well, we do have a lot of people that we were able to hire in our community. We have done expungement clinics with some of our community partners with Midwest Canna Women. You've met Allie before, and done some things with her. Yes. She's been one of our partners in the community who's been working on diversity and inclusion and making sure that, we have a voice to be able to show who we are as a team and as a company. So we done statewide expungement clinics and career fairs, and we were able to hire people through our career fair and expungement clinic. Even if they didn't get hired through us, they were hired into other companies because it's our responsibility. The war on drugs, really impacted heavily families and communities that look like myself and others as well. Not that isn't like me, but in the same time, it's a responsibility that we all have as a country, as a community, as businesses, as industries, to now see something that's legalized, be able to create opportunities for the future and hiring, because we're a state-ran program, so we can't hire anybody with records and certain type of offenses that are, felonies, etc. Maybe some minor misdemeanors may be able to pass through. But the thing is, we get background check. You can't have ownership in the cannabis industries if these things are impacting. So hiring was very important to us to be able to represent not only our community, but who we are as a people. Because if we don't see ourselves often, you got to be able to hire people. So there's a lot of women in our team. It's like majority women. We got like 3 guys. But we love them. They're like our big brothers, and our little brothers. So it's really good. It's a family team. So it's about 10 of us on our staff, but we will be expanding into the near future. We got some big contracts we're locking in, but not only with that, we're building our own name now, so it's exciting to be able to start making products for that will have our name represented on it too. So,
and I'm so excited about that. I did hear that you were going through some sort of rebranding.
Yes.
Could you tell me a little bit about that, or is it secret?
Yes. No, I mean, one of the things that I've learned about the cannabis industry is that you got a lot of different pieces to the supply chain, and there's so many great brands out there that you partner with. But when you're on a license, you realize that you make the oil, so you can make a lot of different things. And one of the things that we wanted to do is learn how to be in the industry and work with different partners and different brands and figure out what type of partnerships and branding partnerships fit with what we do. And we were able to establish a good relationship with MKX and get that as an initial starting project that we launched our products in Ohio. And now we're about to go into making our own products that will be more of our house brand items, and then coming on with some new brands in the future, starting in top of the year with some other national brands. But the whole great thing about it is people allowing us to have the opportunity to do business, and to create a quality product that patients can experience and also enjoy. So we're grateful to have the relationships and the partnerships that we have. And now it's time to, take new steps. NOOH. Take some Noohra, some new steps. Our whole motto is shine a light on the Noohra you, so we want to be able to now, walk in our light and, provide products that patients get to use our name and say.
I'm just fangirling over here. I don't even...
We got to do this more. Like,
you just follow you around and like learn how you guys are doing.
You are amazing. Like look, I'm fangirling. Look, every time I walk in there, I'm like, that purple, we lighting up. We got purple in our brand. I'm like, this is we match and everything. I mean,
our auras are probably similar.
Yes, our vibe. Yes. And taking care of business. Like you could just, the machine is so A1. You got an ace in your pocket for a little. You literally have a great partner there, and like you're amazing, and like learning your history and background. I told you I've learned about your Berkeley experience, and it's amazing to just see dynamic women, like taking leadership and taking ownership and making ground in this cannabis space. It's hard enough to be in very male dominated industries and seeing like women take leadership and take ownership in the authentic way is beautiful. So thank you so much for being on this journey with us.
Thank you. It has been such a journey. I would say, I was in the military too, which was a huge male dominated complex. And I mean, honestly, sometimes I'm not sure which industry is worse when it comes to misogyny.
Both dominated and both controlled.
I think that within the last couple of years, I have really come into myself, and I know myself really well now. I was not sure about myself when I started the business. I had just gotten out of college. I had been in the military. I was very much used to a certain environment. And
Right.
I would say that my confidence wasn't that high. And I'm honestly sometimes surprised at how much I've accomplished, like not believing in myself, but I do it anyway, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Like, I just have this drive to make my life better. But at the same time, I doubt myself a lot. And over the last couple of years, I have stopped doing that. And,
Yes.
I'm 37 now, so it's been a long journey. And I know what I want. I know who I am. I know what I
Yes.
want. I know what I don't like. And
Yes.
I'm proud to pass that on to people.
Beautiful. You can tell you radiate. And like, I'll be 37 this year too. So I
Oh,
can't,
gosh. Wow.
yes.
Amazing.
Yes, during MJ Biz week,
Right.
so, making major accomplishments. And like you said, the confidence now from the woman you were then, you were becoming, you were
Yes.
stepping into your shoes and
Yep.
understanding who you are. And that's the beautiful thing. Same for me. I'm like, I've learned so much in these five. It felt like these 5 years was like two, but
Yeah. Like an eternity, but it went by in a blink. So
yes, but I'm blessed and I'm appreciative to take all these milestones and use these as lessons to be tools to share and also to see the accomplishments and how far we've all come from where we started. This industry is giving me legs, and even though there's things to evolve, it has been a way to grow and learn, and the program has offered us so much. It's offered my family an opportunity to build and work together. This was the first time ever doing a family business in this manner. I've
yeah.
always been around my father's business. He's been in business 30 years now. And I say, I've been looking
Great.
for a partner all my life. And I didn't realize coming home, I'll find the best partner who knows me inside
That's
out,
amazing.
So, and it's been a humbling and also just a rewarding and a privilege to, be able to be a part of his legacy. And then my
Mhm.
sisters and my daughters seeing, this, and my mother being she's been my right hand woman since we started, helping me write the application, going to patient education days with me. She's saying changing semantics to science. She's an RN, she's a nurse, so she's like in her
Wow.
healthcare role, and her new coming of getting out of what she's learned in the healthcare industry and just tying all of our gifts and our passions into this one moment and still building and growing, and like I said, giving each other grace and time and quality. I think this last 3 years have shown us what life looks like in, a blink of an eye, and we got to take time with each other. So thank you so much for the opportunity to take time with you all to share my story and to, continue to every time people like, y'all got that dialed in on that Beacon Ranch. I'm like, cause it's the shit. I don't know if I can say that, but the machine, she hums. She does what she's supposed to do, and I'm thankful for the
Good.
opportunity to
That's
work
what it's supposed to
with
do.
you and the team.
So
Yeah.
let's talk about being a mother,
Oh
because you are
man.
taking on so much. You are a COO, you're starting a business. How is it? Do you have balance in your life, or do you just accept that it's not balanced?
It's a little bit of both. I'm in that age where with this 5 years, 5 is like a year of change for me. And as my daughter is growing, these are such a developmental time for her. So
Yeah.
like she comes to our events and people know her just as much as they know me sometimes. And she's
Okay.
made buddies and friends, and to be able to be opened and allow a community in the industry to be open to my family and her. And as a mom, it's a full-time job. I'm never off. When I
Right.
come home, I have a bigger role because what I do protects her. It builds her,
Yeah.
her life and her sustainability and her future. So, I want to be mindful with what I do and how we're doing it and showing her that she can do anything. I remember, I'm like, if I don't love me, if I'm not my best version, how am I teaching her to be her best self? So I'm learning how to put more of that balance in. The first few years was such a grind because it just is the grind of the cannabis
I mean,
industry.
she was 3 when you started, right?
Yes,
So
and her name is Eden. She's my garden as well, so she's nurtured and taught me so much, so every time I see her, I'm growing, I'm learning, and I'm becoming more of a better woman for myself, but also for her. And she's my best friend, like that, I realized I was like, I never know I have a best friend like this, but she's so smart. She's in the STEM program right now for school. She was selected to be in that. So she loves
not
math and
surprised.
science, and She knows about the business, and, I share with her because I want us not to be afraid to use this
Right.
as a way to open up dialogue with our children about healthy and safety. She knows it's medicine as adult. She knows. I'm like, I ain't going to jail for none of this. Let's say that. And number two, she understands that this is a business and it's very serious.
Yeah.
She knows the rules. She knows, mom. If she was here, she would probably be trying to peep in and wave. And
Oh,
she
we
was
would love
upset when we were able to get our COO, because at first she could go into the lab before we were operational and see it build
that.
out, and now she can't go in because she's underage, and she's like, I can't go. She's like, I got to go to the other side, huh? I'm like, yeah, because she's
It's
not
a
old
little
enough.
home play lab.
I know. So she sees vicariously through pictures, and I share moments like this, I've interviewed. So she's very aware of, the industry, and what is evolving. And there's children her age that's in the program, because there's parents who are caregivers for young kids.
Right.
So it's about, understanding how to allow ourselves to get to the root of the medicine, doing more R&D, so children are able to learn young, proper measures of cannabis use or cannabis growth or cannabis industry. Like, when we got future scientists, we got future lawmakers, we got future engineers and horticulture, everything. So wanting to nurture that into her, but then also find the balance to just give her the quality time that she needs. So now I'm learning how to cut it off at 5, sometimes 6 o'clock. I'll be like, I'm getting into that state now, because I got to, buy back my time for me. I've invested and put the time in to see it grow. I still got to work, still a lot of work to do. But, I don't want her to be like, Mom worked my whole life.
Right. And you have to take time
I'm a realist, it's 2023. They watch YouTube and see parents playing with them all day, and she be looking at me like, why can't you do this on me?
You guys are not living the standard model.
It's different. So it's been beautiful. It's also to just a reward to know that this industry is helping me take care of my child, where I can, provide a future for my home and things like that. And also too, my family being a part of it, I still feel like she has such a great community of people and family around her. So it's been really, like, you think about it, every time we go into cultivation, you get the mom rooms. It's just like, it just feels at home. I be feeling like I'm at home in both places.
Who has a wonderful family. She is surrounded by people who love and support her. That, in my opinion, not having children, I think that's the most important thing, is to be surrounded by people who are holding you and supporting you and loving you, encouraging you. And what more do you need?
Yeah, and she sees it every day. She sees like us working together, and that's something that we want to build for generations in our own families, and and other families being models. Whether you have children or not, we're all got somebody we're caring for and working with to do something special for. And sometimes we got to give ourselves patience. And being a parent in 2023 is different. The world around us is so different. And nurturing the holistic practices and love and being mindful about inclusivity and teaching so many things. Like, this plant teaches so much. It teaches us as we're learning and growing. So I hope that what it's teaching me, I can impart on her. So
I think it is.
Yes.
I think it is. You guys are hitting the mark on that.
We're working on it. It's work in progress. Look, sometimes she be my boss. One day she was like, I was like,
I mean,
she get it from her mama, though.
I was gonna say, yeah. I mean, what more do you want? Like, she's gonna end up.
I'm teaching her how to be an assertive young girl.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want her to just follow along, right?
She know mama to play, so she's a very assertive young girl. So it's a beautiful thing. Like, she has very strong, gentle, loving women around her. My mom has been, in this business with us, and I'm learning from her. She's been my mom, and she's my mom in this. And when we go into patient education, I'm like, yeah, this is my mom. They're like, what? Oh my gosh. It's such a cool thing to have that mother-daughter dynamic. And hopefully one day, if she's interested in, taking a path in this, it's not something that will be forced, but it's still an option that she has opportunity in, that we'll be able to do things together in the future.
One of the biggest lessons I think I've took home over the last 2 years, kind of like knowing myself, is fierce compassion.
Yes.
And I see that in you as well.
Thank you.
Like, you're not playing around, but you do have a lot of empathy. I can see that.
Yes.
And I think
Yes.
that's a really important thing in owning a business.
Thank you. Thank you. It is. And you're managing so much. Like, I'm dated with emails and dated with being on demand for everybody, as you know, with being in modern society. At first you like, we want access to everything, but then sometimes like, do we want this much access? Because not everybody gets
No,
it.
I've just accepted it. In LA, it's
Yes.
like,
I
it's
know,
just,
and I know. That's what I told my dad. I was like, business back then is so much different from now because you got to be, on go. So I've learned it too. My sister told me, she's like, it's going to just be more. I'm like, I know. I'm kind of like, I'm an extrovert, introvert. So I like
yeah,
my
I understand.
peace of mind,
Well, you have to recharge. It's very important to set
recharge time. But then I love getting out there and just being amongst great people, like when you can get that quality time. I love like this. I feel like we at home talking on the couch, like
I'm like, don't get too comfortable because I'll just like go off,
right. Look, Dr. Hart.
So let's talk a little bit about the future of Noohra.
Yes.
You have expanded, correct?
Yes.
What would you say your 5-year plan is?
Wow,
I know it's such a standard tough question.
If I would have known 5 years from here, 5 years would definitely be making sure Noohra has its own legs to sustain on its own, and also being able to give the tools to help others in this market grow. We want to sustain and thrive. So then when we are talking about future partnerships for other operators who are coming in, whether it's social equity program that we're establishing in this adult use, because November 7th, vote yes for the adult use bill. We are on the ballot for legalization for adult use cannabis. So it'll be in 2024, we'll have legalization of adult use cannabis, which will be such a different place from being in a medical program. So that's in 5 years. People like, it's like night and day. You turn on, you're at 180,000 patients to 1.8 million overnight.
You guys are gonna be ready though.
Yes, and we are going to be ready for that.
Mm-hmm.
We already know what she can do, That's going to be on the next mini cast. How many leaders is coming out of that machine? Got leaders,
Yes, I do.
That's going to always be our thing. So one of the, so knowing that we're going to be producing and manufacturing for a lot of different major brands, we do have some great partnerships that will be launching. Wild is one of them that we have partnered with the gummies, and also too, there's going to be some other names that we're launching out this year. So it's exciting to see that happen, and then also new markets. We want to do new markets not only for us to have the access to opportunity, but also teach some of the practices that we learn and work with other operators that are growing, so we can work on sustainability together, creating some type of consortium of network to make sure we're all able to be successful. I think each one teach one, kind of paying it forward and making sure that we be active on the war on drugs, and making sure the federal legalization have the opportunity to give more access to more women, to more minorities, to more veterans, to more people who are in disadvantaged places. So we're working really heavy on that. And then ancillary businesses, doing more partnerships with great businesses and companies and resource events, and just really having fun. Like, it's time to really now enjoy life. This is medicine for well-being. It's time to be well. So,
totally. I'm totally on board with that. Yes.
It's time to be well.
We have no choice but to be here. We need to live life, and we need to live it fully right now.
Yes. So just enjoying that time, and that time with the people we're working and building with, opening up opportunities for new brands to come on board, to teach them the right way to grow a sustainable business, because people think it's overnight. It's not. Taking a brand costs money and time. It's not like people are used to seeing it. I'm like, you can go get $1 bag from the Dollar Tree, but you got to go buy these jars that's childproof. That's the difference. We got to, really just impact each other in a way that's going to help teach each other the best ways to do this business together. And as independent operators, we want to grow. So some people get afraid of that word, multi-state. I think if you have the mindset and the heart to still really grow with people, that you can grow a business collectively. Really doing more collective work. Doing more business practices like that, and just changing the dynamics of what diversity looks like. So.
Absolutely. And you guys are attracting good people. It seems like the vibe is your tribe, right? So are guys.
It's a spiritual thing too, for us, Noohra means light of God in Aramaic, so,
Right.
Nu means message, Ra means light, so it's one of those things where it really was something that chose us, and we were able to, shine light again. And it's been a privilege and a blessing.
Wonderful.
Yes.
When you look at how you began, what would you tell anyone now who is either starting or looking to expand? Is there any advice you give someone?
Patience for yourself, making sure that you utilize the resources that you have and ask for help.
Absolutely.
Sometimes we are afraid to ask for help because we want to handle everything on our own. But there's good help and there's not so good help, but you need to just have some the help that, is like just having discernment. Sometimes you got to go through the experience. You're going to experience the pros and the cons. You're going to experience the good and the bad. You're going to experience the loss. You got to be prepared to know that we've had, a lot of loss in this process, when it comes down to, something going wrong with the product and you got to, learn this, or something didn't test right. You got to redo this, or inventory expires. You got to change that. Like there's so many learning curves that you have to, so you got to give yourself grace. And then also to have a good unit of people to work with, people who are going to be through it when it's money and no money. When it's good and it's bad. Because that's, your trials is a testament of your tribulation. So you got to really go through it with people to know like how your test of character, test of faith, test of all things, to be able to get to this point, because it don't happen overnight. It happens with a lot of things that you got to be prepared for, and you got to be prepared for the unknown. So that's one of the things that has taught ourselves, because this is doing something that is not done before in this state, and changing the prohibition of what we see federally and regulatory. We're still fighting for safe banking. We're speaking to senators and people out in DC about those things. And I never expected to be in these rooms, but I'm like, sometimes you complain and they're like, but then I'm like, well, I just met the senator. And really being able to be a vocal and being acknowledged to be a voice for those reasons is an honor and a privilege. So, taking every step as learning how to accept those wins, even if they're very small, is important too. So there's a list. There is a list of my gratitude list and the things to watch out for.
We're putting out the book in 5 years.
Yes, that's the 5 years, right? Yes. The book, the story.
I mean, I feel like patience, accepting failures are going to happen. I feel like people are very afraid of failure.
Yes.
And you just got to move through it. I make failure. I fail all the time. Let's be real. It's like 90% of the time I'm like failing.
Yes.
And the successes are good.
They're crying with it too, like, and then you wipe it off and you keep it going.
One of the things I wished I had done in the beginning was delegating more. I kind of took on like so much responsibility and did things that I did not have a skill set in, like accounting, for example. I'm not at like real accounting, that's a skill. I have a great CFO now. I did a lot of marketing. I did all the social media. I tried to put together an inventory.
Oh my God. You're SOPs, standard operating procedures, operations. You got to build policies. You got to build rules. HR, like literally, you like the things that you never anticipated. Like you said, AP accounting is different from just bookkeeping. So and knowing in sales, like it goes hand in hand, but then it's still a whole different train. So
So
like you
the
said,
biggest
diligently delegate. And then sometimes you like, dang, I
yes,
delegated and I'm
diligently
still doing the
delegating.
job. I'm still doing the job that I delegated. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have
Right, yes. You
to.
still have to be involved. You still have to be there,
Yeah,
talking to people and seeing how
yeah,
it's going. But
yes.
yeah, we
Because
invest
because everybody's doing something new, and sometimes these are transferable skills that it has to be
Mhm.
trained. So, I learned that, training is so key. Sometimes
Yes,
people have knowledge, but maybe not a skill set. And then that means that maybe more training has to be done. And you have to nurture some of those skills and see where the skill set might be more useful and where things need to be redirected. So it's more effective for both parties involved, more mutual and effective.
definitely. One of the things I've been trying to push on the staff is to get more education,
Yes.
continuing education in their skill set. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
we're getting people to take classes in marketing or sales,
Yes.
finance, whatever it is
Yes.
that they want to learn.
And it's
So
good for personal growth too.
yeah,
Because this might not be your only stop, and
exactly.
we want to make sure that
Yes.
if this is a stepping stone, well, I
Yeah.
hope that this was a great one to learn from. If this
Yeah.
is your forever, well, I hope you're on a train with us to the end.
The team you start with is not always the team you finish with. And I'm
Right.
just grateful for the time that I get with these people.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. Because everybody's here to be used and to be able to be like learning from, like either you use full or if you're not, find the ways that you can grow to be able to create that fullness for you or in your own self. Like sometimes I didn't feel like I was able to measure up in certain rooms because of skill sets that I didn't think I had or was capable of, but I continue to hone in and nurture myself and say, I got this. And if I can do this, and now so many resources like, Chat GPT be helping everybody out nowadays. I heard, I still ain't did it for myself. I'm like, man.
Well, Nickole, thank you for all this knowledge and perspective.
Yes.
I feel like I get to talk to you forever. I really appreciate you taking the time to be on the Beaker and Wrench mini cast.
Thank you.
Everybody, go check out Noohra Labs. Check out everything they offer. Where can we find you guys on social media?
So you can find us at Noohra Labs. That's NOOHRALABS. And that's on Instagram and also Facebook, but also on nooralabs.net. And then also too, you can find myself on I am Nickole Ross. That's NICKOLEROSS. That's my personal page. I only got one picture. I'm terrible at it. I am social media. But we do love the market. We got a great marketing team on our
Yes,
we're rebranding and marketing. So my personal page, I have to gear up, but we're working on it. But you can always reach us on our website. But my personal page is also I can be found, and you can reach us, DM me. I usually reach out pretty good through social media pages. So like when people have a question and stuff like that, please, it's either myself or my sister or our team who's directly on it, who can get any questions answered when it comes now to the business, to get and learning more.
Well, thank you so much. And everyone, don't forget you can find Beaker and Wrench on Instagram. Our handle is at Beaker and Wrench. And check out our YouTube page for more episodes of our mini cast. We really appreciate your time, Nickole.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you, Lilibel. It's so great to see you again. And I'm just looking forward to doing some more amazing dynamic things together. And thank you, Anna, for always staying on top of us and getting us together.
Well, I'll be seeing you very soon. So
woo, it's gonna be a real good time at MJ Business this year. So
I can't wait.
I know.
I can't wait.
Care. Thank you.
All
Have
right.
a great one. Bye-bye.
That's a wrap.